You think we were done? You think that we were done with the Transformer listings for all this brand new product with Legacy and Studio Series? Like I told you, SDCC is just around the corner. All of this stuff is now starting to trickle out like crazy to get ready for all of these reveals. And let's jump into some of those. We got two nice ones here. And it's good because they're also stuff that kind of alleviates the value of some of the more crazier stuff in the past. Now, part of these listings were legacy stuff that we already revealed, and they just kind of give a deeper look into them. So we'll just cover those ones quickly because we talked about the Armada Starscream Voyager class and the Predacon Beast Wars Inferno Voyager class just yesterday. And in these listings, not much is in it that's worth mentioning, but in the Starscream one, they mentioned that he has jet turbines along with the Star Saber sword. The jet turbines might be a representation or indication of what's going on with those little null-ray blasters. I guess that's what they want to refer it as, instead of what they were called in the dubbed version of the Armada cartoon. Not much really I could break down from that. From the Predacon Inferno one, we have the mention of articulated mandibles. We probably much figure that just by looking at the images. The robot jaws also articulated. We'd figure that just by the images. Realistic fire ant textures, they mention, which is pretty cool. The one thing they didn't mention is he also has articulated little antennas. His little ant antennas there are also articulated. They look like they're on little joints too. So that's pretty cool. And that's really much, that's all I could mention. There's nothing really of substance in the listings themselves that are new information. But the one listing that they have here, no image, but a listing, is of a Studio Series 86 Core Class Rumble, and then they put in parentheses blue. Now, the last time we had a Rumble in Frenzy that turned into a tape cassette was during that Siege Earthrise kind of bubble. We got, and there was also the whole Rumble is blue, Frenzy is red, Frenzy is, blue, Rumble is red kind of thing. We first got the Siege 2-pack, which was the Rumble, which was in red, and Ratback, that was a 2-pack. That started to get scalped like crazy initially back when Siege was like on its way out pretty much. Nowadays, the secondary market on it is kind of evened out. I mean, it's still, you could probably still get it for about $15 to $20, which is still more than MSRP, but it's not like crazy numbers like it used to be. I mean, it was going as high as $40, $50, $60 when we were in Earthrise, and then when that Soundwave came out in Earthrise. So specifically that Netflix one. So it's something where it's kind of evened out since then, but those ones specifically, and the other one is, how did you get, okay, let's put it this way. We'll call it red tape and blue tape because I don't want to confuse you guys because you're not going to have the visuals in front of you. So red tape came with that Ratbat 2-pack in Siege. Again, didn't have any accessories. It just came with the Ratbat, so it didn't have its little PAL drivers, didn't have his blasters. It was just the two core little figures there. Then they did a Hasbro Pulse 4-pack, which was called the Soundwave Spy Patrol 3rd Unit. And this one had a whole bunch of just cassette repaints. They took Ratbat, they turned it into Wing Thing, which was a throwback to the old Action Master partner of Soundwave. You had the Power Masters for Double Dealer, but they were now made from Soundwave cassettes because they didn't want to do Power Masters straight up, just easier to just do repaints. And you also got, I'm going to use air quotes here, blue cassette. They listed it as Frenzy. Some people call it Rumble. I'm not going to get into that discussion. But at the same time, its original MSRP and what it is now in the secondary market didn't change that much. But it was a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, so some people probably did have difficulty getting it because of, shipping regions. I was one of them. It wasn't too big a deal. But, one of my local stores has like 2 of them for sale, and I still haven't picked it up because I was just kind of like, no rush, really. And, rightfully so, no rush, because now we're going to be probably getting proper cassettes. Now, are these going to be just straight up repaints and repacks of the individual Siege ones, but now with accessories? Could be a possibility. Or these could be brand new tooling that are a lot better within that core class price point. I would love it to be similar to like what we got with Masterpiece. Masterpiece made some really good cassettes. They were very good articulated individual figures that had all their bells and whistles. And if they could kind of encompass that, and the core class seems to kind of, from what I've messed with core class already, for whether it be like from Kingdom or from Legacy or even the limited amount of stuff that I've seen from the Buzzworthy line or something in that kind of price point, I could kind of see a slightly budget version of the Masterpiece one being a reality. And judging by what the listing says here, which is like, okay, 3.5 inches, so that's already slightly larger than the Siege one, so it's definitely not a repaint retool of it, unless they did some crazy retooling. It looks like it's a brand new sculpt. And then they mention here, comes with accessories, 2 thruster blasters, which are obviously the blasters that he would have on his back, and 2 pile driver accessories. So he actually comes with all the little weapons that he should, similar to that of the little Masterpiece. So it'd be really cool that now we could probably get some proper updated cassettes. We did have the cassettes. They did work with your Siege Soundwave and your Earthrise Soundwave, Netflix Soundwave, and even if you wanted to throw it in your blaster chest, it worked with it. So we did get those cassettes already, but I think these are now more updated versions of them that are a better representation. And what you got before, unfortunately, is going to end up on sale, or you're going to get rid of it and stuff like that. This happens a lot. A lot of times, better versions of modernizations of characters come around, and then people start getting rid of them. Look, one of my buddies from Patreon sent me his Power of the Primes blaster. You know what I mean? Because look, the Kingdom Blaster is out now. Unless you really like that mold, the Power of the Primes one doesn't really serve a purpose. Blaster was my first Transformer, so I like any blaster I could get, any version. I collect them all. But it shows that there's an evolution here, and now there's better versions, and it's an ongoing thing with Transformers. Look, that Rumble, that Frenzy trademark, it probably already expired over Kingdom, and now they're refreshing it, and now they're putting brand new molds out there to accompany that brand new blaster mold that's out there. That's going to accompany that Soundwave mold that's going to be part of Legacy. That's a repaint retool, not a repaint retool, just a repaint repackaging of the Siege one. They're putting it out there so there's more play value, there's more collectability. People are going to buy the same characters again. I'm pretty sure there's tons of guys that bought the Rumble and Frenzy from both that 2-pack and the Pulse one, and then they're going to pick up these ones, and Hasbro made 2 sales, if not many more. So just take away from that what you will, but we're going to be getting a Rumble Blue very soon at some point in the core class. And the last thing I want to cover here, and this is the big one that's really exciting, is there was also a listing courtesy of JT Prime 17 found in the Walmart archive database of a Transformers Generations Legacy Voyager class Metal Hawk. This is fantastic news because the last time that we had a Metal Hawk is kind of this weird thing. It's like it's a recent trademark within Hasbro. That's the first thing you got to understand. Like, originally a 1988 Master Force character. One of the, in Master Force's exclusive figures, obviously Minerva's at the top of that and the most expensive along with Grand Maximus, but a Metal Hawk complete 1988 Pretender shell with his inner robot, which is the only die-cast one of all the Pretender shells, goes for crazy money today. So right away, people who wanted to engage with Metal Hawk back in the day couldn't do that. Too expensive. Then they did a Bakon one, which was not the best looking figure in the world. The old Joe Ibe homage, as I like to call it. The 2012 Bakon version. No one liked that one, so that wasn't really going to be the Metal Hawk on their shelves. And then, of course, you had the box set one, which was a BBTS exclusive. Then, of course, it was showing up in some places in Canada and the UK, which was a retool, repaint of, I believe it was Trigger Happy. And again, that one kind of difficult for people to get. And it was a pretty good figure, but not the best in the world. Not the best Metal Hawk by a lot of stretches. And then finally, probably the most retail-y available Metal Hawk figure was during Power of the Primes when they did all those Pretender shells. And he was with Vector Prime together as a Pretender shell. And still to this day on my desk, I have that Pretender shell. I bought a whole bunch of them. They went on clearance at my local Walmart, and I just bought a whole bunch of them because I just love Pretender shells and I love Metal Hawk. So I was like, I'm going to have one on my desk. And of course, there's the SCF PVC that's out there. There's some Wonder Festival stuff that's also expensive, but he was always a difficult character for a Westerner to pick up. Now it looks like Hasbro is giving all this Master Force love. Like, it's crazy. Like in 2020, we had Black Orochi. In 2021, we had Black Zarek. So already, here's these characters. And even before that, we had Grand Maximus with the Titan class. We had Double Dealer, who's technically Double Clouder, and Earthrise, who was also a Master Force character. We got the Seacons, so that means you kind of get King Poseidon, which is, again, a Master Force character. All of those Power of the Primes, little Prime Masters, which are Pretender Shells, they could also do double duty as the Master Force characters. I mean, I could go on and on. I know I'm leaving stuff out, but even in the recent times, like the very, very recent times, we got Fangry in that buzzworthy Bumblebee Worlds Collide 4-pack. Fangry is Wilder, straight up 100%, no paint change in Master Force. And then literally just in the past year, Minerva is going to be a part of our assortments here. So a lot of Master Force love just in the past couple of years. And now we have a Metal Hawk that's a Voyager class. So 2 trains of thought here. He could be a brand new tooling, a brand new mold, which would be absolutely fantastic, and I would love that to death. But if he would be a retool, repaint to something, there's 2 things I could lean on. I could see him maybe somewhat being a retool, repaint of the Armada Starscream, an extensive one of that, and it would have just more of that Big Bad Toy Store box set look that he had, which, again, I wasn't a big fan of, but look, if it gives us a Metal Hawk and keeps that trademark going, sure thing. I'm also leaning on the idea that it could be a G-Axis retool. Because G-Axis, I'm pretty sure, if you look at the original Metal Hawk, like the original Metal Hawk toy, and even how his design was in the show, I'm pretty sure if you tool G-Axis in just the right way, like really, and we've seen some crazy retooling now and partials. I mean, look at what we got from stuff that wasn't going to happen with Cosmos and even with with Studio Series 86 Hot Rod for Nitro Convoy Override. So it shows that the crazy retooling can be a thing if need be. So if that's the case, I could even see them taking G-Axis, giving it a really gung-ho effort, and you could get something that has that jet mode and then doesn't have all that jet kibble like that of the inner Pretender robot of Metal Hawk. Now, granted, it won't have the Pretender shell element and the human element, but I think that if you have to do something, you kind of have to lean more of that on that inner robot than the outer shell. And it's a shame. I would just love a straight up, Pretender shell and, inner robot craziness. But I mean, that's asking way too much in my opinion. But, it is what it is at the end of the day. But hey, we're getting a Metal Hawk and it's going to be retail. And that's fantastic. Again, the fact that he went from an extremely expensive toy in 1988 in the secondary market to a BotCon exclusive to a Japanese PVC, which is pretty inaffordable, but it's not expensive, but still it's a Japanese release, to a Big Bad Toy Store box set, difficult thing, expensive to get, to then an extremely easy to get, practically clearanced little Prime Master to, now something that'll be in retail in a Voyager price point and hopefully easy to get and will be probably the best representation of that character up to this point. I'm down for that. I really am. And I love Master Force. Everyone knows that it's in my top 3 favorite Transformer series of all time. Metal Hawk is a fantastically cool character that just doesn't get enough love. And considering how much Master Force love we're getting in the past, like literally couple of years, and if it's Mark's behind it, and he likes those mini collections as he refers to them, so it looks like it's more of a Master Force thing, and hey, more of that, I'm down for that. So that's once again more listings that we have, more Transformer product coming. Probably we're going to have maybe more in the next 24 hours, I don't know, but I will talk to you again real soon. Let me know what you think about all of this.